we start the makeup, I'm going to put my head into this weird fishnet looking thing. It is a new type of wig cap. That's my absolute favorite, because we're going to put our hair in a wig later, but I just want to get it out of my face. Put some bobby pins in it so it'll stay in place and not budge, hopefully. Then I'm going to use Urban Decay's primer potion around my eyes and a little bit on my nose to hopefully make my makeup not crease all over my face in those little crinkles and cracks. Then I'm getting one of my absolute favorite drugstore foundations. This is Revlon's Color Stay 24 Hour. I just want to look natural and pretty like these Disney princesses try to achieve goals that could never happen. But I am applying that on with this dense Kabuki buffer brush. It's like my absolute favorite for liquid foundation. Buffering that all over my face, neck, and chest. If you have a airbrush kit system, I would use that instead because it's a lot easier and you will get less likely to get splotches if you know how to use an airbrush. Don't you just love applying makeup with your less dominant hand and you feel like you just can't do things in life correctly anymore? Now that our foundation is on, we're going to try to do that Kardashian-esque glow with the contour and the highlight that's a shade lighter than our actual skin tone and foundation is. I'm using this concealer from Poise. The Poise concealers are like heaven. One of the best brands of concealers I've ever used in my life. I love using these brushes that are used for shadows. You know those flat, fluffy ones? They're my favorite for concealer because concealer brushes are a little too stiff for my under eyes. Then doing that on the bridge of my nose and then some of my forehead. Then getting my NARS Creamy Concealer and covering some of my under eyes and blemishes. And on the bridge of my nose again and a little bit on my forehead. Then blending that out with a beauty blender because it's really expensive but it's worth it. If you do not have a beauty blender, please use a disposable makeup sponge that is damp. Also, the beauty blender has to be damp. And once you have that Kardashian glow on your face, you're going to start doing contour. I am getting one of the lightest contours from that concealer palette. And just contour your face. I did it on my nose and my forehead and the sides of my cheeks, the hollows of them. Then I'm just going to powder my under eyes with Bare Minerals Hydrating Powder and the rest of my face with a translucent powder. And remember to pat the rest of your chest with some powder. And then with that contour, I'm going to get another contour shade. This is Benefit's Hula Bronzer, just to give my skin more of a sun-kissed glow, but not to make my skin tone too dark. Just like I got a nice tan maybe. And on the hollows of your neck bone. I know that sounds really creepy, but Princess Jasmine does a lot of low-cut tops, and she has a very prominent collarbone. So I'm like, why not accentuate that? Maybe it'll make us look skinny or sickly. I don't know, somewhere in between. Now it's time for highlighting. I am using this Hourglass highlighting palette. It is way too expensive. I would just use a Golden Tones shimmery eyeshadow. Then I'm going to use one of my absolute favorite Tarte blushes for the Disney Princess looks. And now that that's done, it's time to put our eyebrows on fleek. I'm using NYX Brow Powder Duo. Has that light shade and the dark shade. I'm using the light shade first just to shape my eyebrows. You definitely want to use a reference picture for this to make it more arched and thicker than you normally do. And then I'm going to go in with the darker color from that duo and put that darker color more towards the center of the eyebrow shape and towards the tail end of it. Now that our eyebrows be looking on point, it is time to put on some more eyeshadow primer so that we can prime them lids and slap some makeup on it. I'm using the Morphe N35 Neutrals palette. This is my favorite. Going with the darker chocolatey reddish brown shade, really thick, towards my lash line on the lower half of the eyelid. And then I'm going to do a more neutral color eyeshadow brown on top of that, and then a very clean blending brush to blend them together. And then I'm getting a third brown color that's darker than the lighter brown, but lighter than the darkest brown towards the eyelash line. Does that make sense? And now it's time to put on some winged outliner. You could use gel, liquid. I'm using a NYX Liquid Duo. Whatever you feel comfortable with though. So just be very precise and careful with this. This is what I think she's mostly known for in contouring and just glowiness. She's like what the Kardashians wish they could be. Honestly though. Line my bottom waterline. If you are scared to put this near your eye, you don't have to do it. Now it's time to do those eyelashes. You're going to first curl your eyelashes with the mirror in the way so you can't really see much because I need to be precise with this. I'm using these very thick fluttery lashes so they'll look flirtatious and cute. Now just getting a red lip liner. This one's from the drugstore, but you just want a red tint one. All over your lips. You could extend your lip a little bit maybe, do whatever shape you want. And then I'm not going to use one but two lipsticks. The first one being this Revlon Matte Color Stay Lip Crown. Then this absolute favorite dream lip color, which is Burt's Bees Redwood Forest. Oh, it's like this mahogany red that's so gorgeous because Jasmine's lips are more of a mahogany, deep tone red that has slight tints of brownish in it. I know, weird. Now's my favorite part. We are done with the beauty portion of this makeup. I am going to dress up and get a gold choker necklace, then this gorgeous, gorgeous wig. It's like what my hair wishes it could be. Like hair goals. In fact, if I could put 7 million layers of weave in my hair, I would still dream of my hair looking like this. It wouldn't look close to it. Put these teal ribbons on it. I made this headband from things I found at Michael's in the craft store. Then I made these earrings out of necklaces. Since my ears aren't pierced anymore, I had to cut into pieces. I looped them around with fishing line. So like I said, this is the final beauty portion of the makeup look. If you want to go on further and it gets